Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blizzard Watch's podcast, where we talk about Blizzard Entertainment, its many games, and occasionally a few other games. And sometimes we're considering which one of us would be replaced by Muppets if this was a Muppet movie. So far, I think you guys would get replaced, and I'd stay because as I kind of have the much smaller Tim Curry effect in that I am also a Muppet. I'm just very impressive Muppet.
And I've got the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, just much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Welcome to our special guest, Cory. Say hi, Cory. But don't say hi, Cory.
Too late.
I should have known better.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yes.
Checks
and
out, sir.
Of course, Liz Harper and Joe Perez, who are always here because they are sealed in the tomb and they can only come out to make podcasts.
It's true. That's true. Good Wi-Fi in the tomb, though.
Sure. Yeah, you gotta admit.
Pretty solid signal.
Thank God we can finally get DoorDash to the tomb. It's so much easier. But yeah, we're doing a kind of a New Year thing. I mean, I feel like it's fair to say that it is 2026.
I think it is. I think it is. I'm pretty sure.
Sometimes it's hard to tell what year or day or week or anything. And I've certainly had some 90s flashbacks with the news lately. But I will say we're going to just soldier on and talk about stuff going on this month and other places. Starting with this little Hearthstone bit because, great. I'm so glad they brought this back. Liz, you want to talk about this before I ruin it with my angerness?
Yeah, this is my favorite thing. It's great. You know, Hearthstone has been doing its gotcha game where the first roll is free and you might get something really great. Except the really great thing, you're probably, every time you spin, you get a reward. Every time you get a reward, the price to spin goes up. And there's one reward that everyone wants that is super rare, and you're probably going to have to spend all 158 American dollars in order to get it. And that, right now, that is a Yogg-Saron mythic skin in Hearthstone. I went in and I did my free spin. I did not get Yogg-Saron, and so I'm not going to get Yogg-Saron because I have better things to spend $158 on if I was spending $158 on something. It's, they seem very, very committed to this little gotcha game. They're rolling out new, very expensive cosmetics there once a month, and it's just kind of disheartening.
I also did not get Yogg-Saron. I did my spin too, if you can believe that.
Shocked, I tell you.
I can't believe you.
Yeah, you logged on, you did a spin.
I mean,
it's not the biggest news. It's just that ongoing feeling of crushing disappointment that life is fully based on microtransactions that are growing larger and larger.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that they're doubling down on it, and I'm wondering if it is a double down or if the first one was that successful for them as a metric.
Well, this is like maybe their fifth one so far. They've been continuing to do these. These have there was the most adorable dinosaur ever, and then there was an adorable void bunny, and then there was Trillion. I feel like there was something in between there. Yes, I have never gotten any of these things, so keep on keeping on, enjoying my free spin.
They will certainly. This is too good for them, I guess. They must be paying off. They must be getting $20 or $30 out of people per time they do it.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably a few whales that'll go all the way to the end.
There are going to be enough whales that they're just going to go and buy the cosmetic.
But the real money in this is probably in people who will go, okay, I'll pay for the first. I did my first free spin. I'll pay for the next one. No, I'll pay for the next one. Okay, I'm done. And the gradient is such that people are, some people are willing to give them like $10. Some people are willing to go all the way up to 158. Other people will have other thresholds where they just won't go any further. I feel like they can see why it would be profitable, but I also can see why it fills my soul with the kind of loathing that makes me feel like Artemis or whatever it was, the Argent, or I can't remember its name, but the sludge of evil from that Star Trek TNG episode. I feel like it's living in my soul every time I see this.
The one that ate Tasha Yar?
Yes. Well, an eater.
Well,
They did get her body back, but it did kill her, and then it was mean about it, which was even worse, really. So yeah, no, I don't like this, but I feel like I've ranted enough, so instead we'll talk about
Move on. Move
yes,
on with our lives.
the Burning
Keep
Crusade
breathing.
Classic. The Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Realms are going to be launching in January 13th, which I don't think these are before. They're not actually going to have TBC stuff yet, correct?
No, this is the pre-patch is launching on January 13th. So it's all of the sort of class changes and game updates and blood elves, your Draenei, all of those things, your jewel crafting are all going to be there. We don't actually have a release date for the expansion itself yet, probably in February based on how they timed pre-patches to patches in the past. But yeah, the pre-patch is going live. Eventually, the expansion will go live on the Anniversary Realms. And if you have been sitting on this and you have been playing on the Anniversary Realms, there is one really important thing that we must tell you, which is you can get a free transfer off of the Anniversary Realms onto other Classic Realms if you do not want to move on into the Burning Crusade. And you have to do that by January 12th. Otherwise, you're in the Burning Crusade, and that's it. So just if you want to stay on, but if you want to move off, you've got to do it before the pre-patch launches. So get on that.
Yeah. Keep that in mind, because if this is not for you, you don't want to end up having to spend money on a transfer after, because it's annoying.
And I bet you can't transfer off to it. Like if you wanted to stay in a vanilla realm, I bet after it changes into TBC, I bet you can't transfer to the past, essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially if you did some leveling.
Yeah.
So,
it's like, oh, I got 1 experience point. Oh no, I can never go anywhere again. Yeah, that's probably how it works.
so yeah. Also, we should point out that WoW Remix, if you're currently doing Legion, the remix for Legion, you just call that Legion Remix, I guess. I don't think we don't call
Lee
it.
mix
It's not
is
like-
whatever Lee mix is what everybody's been calling it.
Oh god, that's horrible.
I call it Legion Remix because every abbreviation is horrible. So
Lemix,
here we are.
Lemix sounds like a pharmaceutical medication that you'll find out has multiple horrible side effects.
I
Anyway,
really wanted
though,
to call it Felligan, and nobody was on board with Felligan. So
that's because it
here we
doesn't
are.
sound like Fell again. It sounds like Felligan.
Yeah,
Welcome to Felligan's Pub. No one's
I-
going to Felligan's Pub.
I agree. I agree with Anna in chat. Legion is probably the best one out of there, and because I don't care for it. So
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
care for it either.
ta-da. Anyway,
But anyway, that's ending on January 19th. So if you are playing right now, you have a little time left. I'm not going to say
Until
how much.
January 19th. Yeah.
And then once January
which
19th
is-
comes, that ends, and you don't have any more time.
Farewell. Time is over.
Yep. However, if you are playing that and you're like, what am I going to do with my time after Remix goes away? God, the Remix.
Yeah, I was sitting here worrying, like Legion Remix is going to go away. I'm going to have so much free time. What am I going to do with all of those hours in the day? Maybe I could catch up on some books, play some of those Steam games on my backlog. Huh.
Or
There's so much time for activities.
you could then realize that on January 20th, literally the next day, the midnight pre-patch launches. So you suddenly have all sorts of class changes. And I mean, let's face it, pretty much everybody who cares about player housing is already playing player housing because they pre-ordered to do it, because that's what they did. We all know this. But regardless, if you didn't pre-order it, but you're going to buy it when it comes out, you'll then get player housing as well. And then the pre-patch event is going to start a week after that on the 27th of January. So yeah.
Hopefully the pre-patch bugs will have worked themselves out over the week. And
They
then
won't.
we can just go into I'm trying to be hopeful here.
I
I'm
know.
doing my best.
I always remember, I'll never be able to forget when I logged on to the original Mists of Pandaria and I got to the part where we're supposed to fly a vehicle around and look at the area, and the vehicle bugged out. And so I spent like literally an hour and a half just flying around the Jade Forest, unable to get off of this thing. So I couldn't pursue any quests or do anything. So yeah, I don't think it'll be as buggy as that, but I do expect there will be bugged. I just don't
There
imagine.
always are. There always are. But the pre-patch again, the pre-patch event, we get to fight the Twilight cult again. Weren't you just waiting to fight a cult again? These guys, yeah.
I mean, I'm not
But-
surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't really clamoring for more Twilight Cult.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if you're clamoring for it or not. It's coming. But I think the best thing about the pre-patch is that if you complete the pre-patch event, you get the title Definitely Not a Cultist, which is definitely a title that not a cultist would use. Only non-cultists can use this title. That's what I've been told.
And legally, they have
Yes.
to tell you.
Only non-cultists. I certainly will be using this, as I am not a cultist. But yeah, I mean, it's an event. It's not looking like it's going to be very different than the last few expansions, but that's cool.
Do you have fond memories of the Twilight Highlands or not? I think that's going to be the differentiator here as to whether you love this event or do not love this event.
Oh well, I've got to be honest. I don't have fond memories of Twilight Highlands.
Well, I have bad news because we're going back.
Yeah, but I don't have particularly negative. It's not like some zones.
Okay, so it's like a middle of the road kind of thing.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like if you go to a McDonald's and you get yourself a hamburger and some fries. You're not setting anything new going on. But I mean, I can eat a hamburger. So I feel like I'm describing this in such a way as to make it sound even less appealing than I actually find it. But at least I'm not having to go to the Twilight Hammer raid instance in the Twilight Highlands, because that flight was just the biggest drain on my life at the time. It's like, oh Lord, why did they make it so it's a 20-minute flight from any flight zone? Just put a little Griffin, little Wyvern and Griffin guys on top of the actual raid portal, because it's all the way up there. So as long as we're not doing that, I will say that this is interesting to me, that this thing's going to be kicking off every 10 minutes. There's an event every 10 minutes in the Twilight Highlands. I don't know if that's going to start that way, because they've done that in the past where they started and it
ramps up over time. Yeah.
It's ramped up, yeah. So I don't know if it's going to start every 10 minutes or if it's going to work up to every 10 minutes. I kind of hope it just starts every 10 minutes, because the Legion pre-expansion event was my favorite, and it was just continuous. There's just always demons everywhere. I know that it started off slower, but it got fast very quickly.
We've seen problems in some events like this where there are so many people interested in it and so many people showing up that the event ends like the second it starts, because there are so many people that are hitting mobs. So that makes it difficult to complete the event. So having an event that starts frequently is great, because even if you arrive at 60 seconds after the event started and so it's over, you only have to wait a few minutes for the next one to start.
This time I got to sit here and have it just finish itself to my benefit. Yeah, that is one of the most, I'll just say straight up annoying things about these kind of events. Yeah. If enough people are there, it can literally be like, oh, what happened? I think something happened. The Twilight people were here. They're all dead now, but they were here, I think.
It's really good when you get the stuttering too, because there's so many spell effects all happening at the exact same time. So you don't even really get to know what the event looked like. You just got the slideshow.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice in terms of the light show, but yeah, I didn't. Even the original Invasion in Legion had that problem. To the point where there was that weird undead guy who just start yelling at you, like, do this, do that, and he was just yelling, and you're like, hey, I remember you from such quests as the first one I did as a warlock in all the way back in vanilla. Oh, you're gone now. Eat the demons in 15 seconds. Okay. Well, I'll see him again soon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it just because I like pre-patch events. I do. Even when they're not particularly innovative, I just really like everyone running around, getting catch-up gear. So you're going to go into the next expansion with at least relatively decent gear. I thought some of the item level is getting squished. Is that still the case? Am I insane?
Yes.
Everything's
we're getting a huge item level squish. I mean, there's a lot going with this patch. There are tons and tons of class changes. We're getting the squish. We're getting your new demon hunter spec, the devourer, the void demon hunters. We're getting the add-on changes. So a lot of your add-ons are going to break, which that's broken add-ons is normal for a big patch day, but what isn't normal is a lot of them are going to stay broken because Blizzard has made changes that prevents add-ons from accessing combat data. So that breaks a lot of add-ons associated with combat. I think they've been tuning this on the beta test, and I think it's gotten a little less kludgy than it has been, and I've heard more add-ons that are going to continue into midnight, but you should expect it to be kind of a mess those first few days when the servers come live and all of your add-ons are just nope. It's this one's going to be a big change. I think a lot of these changes are good for the game in the long term, but they're going to be very painful and frustrating in the short term. Like changing how add-ons work is probably good for the long-term health of the game and putting players on an even playing field as far as what they see in the game and having more things built into the game instead of having to go outside the game and download, install an add-on. But it's kind of gonna suck when we jump in and, some of our add-ons aren't coming back, which not thrilled about it, but I think it's good in the long run. We'll see.
Those are
We'll
my
see how it
emotional
goes.
support add-ons.
You're gonna have to get like plushy versions of the add-ons to sit on your desk to be your emotional support add-ons.
When was the last stat squish?
I think the last squish was at the end of Battle for Azeroth. I don't know if it was actual gear squish, but it was definitely a stat squish.
Well, stat squish and gear
into the
squish go hand in hand, right? That's always
Yeah.
how that it's.
I'm pretty sure that it was at the end of Battle for Azeroth because we got, like, I remember going out and farming up gear with the World Quest because I needed to get gear for specs I didn't have gear for, and they'd squished everything, so I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I think that's when it was.
So let's see. I'm looking it up. Warlords of Draenor patch 6.0 was one of the ones that they did it with. Man, nobody has cataloged this in a proper data-driven way. I am so upset about this.
Stat squishes can be a little awkward.
6, 8, 9, and 12 patches. 6, 8, 9, and 12 are the ones. Okay, good to know.
So end of Battle for Azeroth, right there. Patch 8.0.1.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
then they did it again.
They did it for Shadowlands 9.0.1 with a stat adjustment. Or no, that was everything. That was stat.
A level squish too.
Yeah, stat, item level, and character levels. And then midnight will be the just stat and item levels. Okay, we have learned a thing. You're welcome, everybody.
But yeah, I mean, go ahead, Liz.
So this can feel really awkward when they squish stats because it can upset the balance. Like if you're going back and soloing old content, suddenly you can start feeling weak. I actually think from playing on the beta, I think Blizzard has done a pretty good job here in that I'm not going into new content or old content and feeling like I'm suddenly very weak. So hopefully that will not feel bad, but I think losing add-ons and not having our add-ons available maybe ever, some of that's going to feel pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's also not necessarily even because the add-ons do something that drastically affects gameplay. It can feel bad just because I was used to doing this with the add-on and now I have to relearn what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know that I've never really gotten over when I used to use weak auras to tell me, Matt, use Colossus Smash, and I basically had a picture of Jim Varney as Ernest that just popped up on my screen that told me that's the symbol for Colossus Smash because I found him tremendously annoying. Not as himself. Jim's Varney I was fine with. It was Ernest, the character that I hated. Like holy. So yeah. I don't really know where I'm going with this other than I look forward to like finding out that people are still going to be allowed to have annoying add-ons that tell them to do things, but I don't know that that's going to happen with the combat log being what it is.
Everything has to work differently. So, I mean, like an add-on can't access combat data. It can't see real-time combat data. So
basically damage meters are going, guys. Don't even mourn them.
damage meters are built in now. They're a built-in feature of the game. There are no third-party damage meters.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it gets rid of things like third-party weak auras and stuff
Here's
like
a
that,
question.
which they might potentially walk back a little bit too. Like, let's make sure that we highlight that, because they've already started conversations with the add-on makers, and the add-on makers are saying that we're going to have 12.0 compliant stuff, and we've been talking with them. So not everything is all doom and gloom.
No, it's not. I mean, but one of the things is the weak auras developers have said they aren't planning on continuing to have weak auras for patch 12.0, and that's because they would have to completely overhaul how it was set up, and it would have just a tiny fraction of the functionality that it does now, because it's so many people use it for combat notifications of different kinds. And it's but I have some non-combat weak auras that I'm gonna miss. I have a weak aura that just puts a little arrow where I am in the middle of the screen, just so I can find myself, because I'm playing a gnome right now. You get lost in all the clutter and characters that are on a screen.
Yep.
It's just a little arrow. That's a weak aura. So
or the add-on that highlights
something else.
The add-on that highlights your mouse and where it is on the screen too, little stuff like that.
So I don't know that those are things that are now forbidden by add-ons. It's just that they are being done by, in my case,
this is going away. So yeah,
an add-on that's going away. So it's well, onward we go into the future. The march of progress continues.
Speaking of the March of Progress, one thing I want to ask before we move on, I just repeated myself and I don't know why. Will you still have World of Logs or other offsite collation? Because you said you can't have live combat data, but can you still get a log of the data?
I think you can still export the combat.
Okay. That's what I'm curious about, because a lot of people use those.
But I think anything that automatically integrates into it, I don't remember if World of Logs had that or not. But anything that does that is not going to be able to function like that. It'll all be manual, I believe. I'm 99% sure.
All right, though. That covers pretty much the stuff we know is going to be happening in January. Now we know some stuff that's going to just be happening later on this year. The one that most people around here are probably going to be interested in is Midnight, WoW's next expansion. After the pre-patch launches, there will be a March launch of Midnight, March 2nd. So if you're wondering when it will actually finally be time to Midnight, you will finally get to go on your world tour with Arathor. You will finally get to go talk to, the Haranir and ask them where the heck they went. Guys, we were in the middle of something and you just bailed. Yeah. All that stuff is coming on March 2nd. So
it feels like a really long pre-patch. Do any of the rest of you feel that way?
It does feel a little extra long.
I mean, February is the shortest month, so.
Well, I don't even think
Sure.
I think it is a long time, but I think it's a necessary long time. When you are changing a game system so fundamentally, you need a long period of people who maybe didn't get a chance to test on beta and maybe aren't in scenarios that will break it in new and unusual ways. Give them an opportunity to break it so that you can try to fix it before the actual expansion releases. So smart of them and good on them for releasing it early and giving themselves time, because time is the enemy.
I mean, I think going along with that, it's interesting that Midnight's pre-patch launches on the 20th, but the event doesn't start till the next week and then runs the entirety of February.
But that's also for the same reason, right? They need to, they can't have the event go live and then people not be able to do anything. I
think that's one of the reasons why we're getting, between the fact that it's using up February, which again, shortest month by 2 days. I find myself wondering if that's all part of the making sure you have enough time to make readjustments, because they are going to have to make readjustment. There's going to be a class that comes out and is much weaker than anyone expected it to be. There's going to be a class that, things line up so it's actually much stronger than it used to be. Stuff's going to happen, because it always does when you're doing something this big. But I do wonder if that's that January 20th to 27th bit. That's kind of interesting to me. I hadn't thought about the fact that they've done that before, but you're right, Joe, they have. But now that we know about Midnight, we've talked about that. We don't know when the classic anniversary realms are going to roll over to TBC, as Liz pointed out. We do think it's probably going to be in February, based on when we're getting the pre-patch in January. But we don't know.
I don't even think it's just because of the pre-patch that we're getting for it and the timing there. I think it's also the timing of other releases occurring, even though they are technically separate teams. You're going to have a whole lot of people that are probably going to want to check out the TBC Classic Anniversary stuff that are probably going to also want to check out Midnight. So timing it like that gives them the opportunity to do both. So I would suspect that at least a couple weeks before Midnight drops, we'll see TBC.
It's smart timing, but Blizzard isn't always smart about timing things.
True.
Blizzard drops a lot of stuff right on top of other stuff. So the fact that this seems like smart timing and spacing things out, that people may be interested in all of these different things, actually kind of confuses me, because I'm so accustomed to Blizzard as like, well, we're just going to release everything this week and have fun with that.
Yeah, it is not always their strong suit, but that's what we know. I should mention, because I'm the one, I think at this moment, who is currently obsessed with it, Diablo 4 is going to have its new expansion release on April 28th. The new expansion is called Lord of Hatred, which, on the one hand, pretty solid title. Lord of Hatred, yeah, that checks. On the other hand, we already had Lord of Destruction, so it feels like, are we just going to have a Lord of something expansion every so often?
It's like we now had Lord of Destruction. Sorry, you go, Cory.
It's also just a little samey because we've just come out of
Vessel of Hatred.
Yeah,
and the word I don't focus on there is hatred. The word I'm not focusing on is vessel. It's hatred. So we're going from a hatred expansion to a hatred expansion,
and then there'll be a hatred expansion after that, and you'll like it.
Vol and law, vol, law. I just I feel to a certain degree like I'm hoping what Lord of Hatred actually does is what Liz and I were talking about this today, and I feel bad for people who have to listen to me say the same things again. So I'm sorry, Liz. But we were talking about this, and one of the points that Liz made was that Vessel of Hatred felt like two different story tracks, both of which were not completed.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to look at it. That I immediately started thinking about myself. I have felt from the beginning that there's a lot of stuff in Vessel of Hatred that I like. A lot of the story beats I like. A lot of the questing is really good. There's a ton of content, but at the same time, there's also a lot of stuff that's just sort of, hey, we've introduced this cool and sinister new villain. Oh, he's gone now. Like, what was that guy for? You just
kick him off screen. Yeah, he lasted for like 5 minutes.
It's like, here, look, he's literally using a piece of wood from a funeral pyre as his cigarette because he's been so thoroughly destroyed by the hells and his experiences. Oh, he's gone now? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, he made the mistake of annoying the main character. So, yeah. Okay. I guess.
He's gone. Wait, he didn't even matter at all now? Oh, okay. I guess we're back on Mephisto's train.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in Vessel of Hatred. And I felt like I don't know. I'm not Jason Schreier. I haven't interviewed like 100 people and come up with this massive aggregate to what happened. But it definitely feels like all the churn that we saw because of Blizzard's, employee lawsuit from the state of California, their tremendous problems with some sexual harassment, just in general, Bobby Kotick. We lost like a lot of people from Diablo's team specifically, some of whom turned out to be really terrifying people. And, it just, you get to the point where you feel like that can't have had no effect on the development of Vessel of Hatred, because Vessel of Hatred feels like there's a lot of good stuff here, but it feels like it hits a wall. It literally feels like it just drives into a wall. And you're like, wait a minute,
another thing,
we're just letting it stop here? Go ahead, Liz.
I do want to say another thing about Vessel of Hatred is when they launched Diablo 4, they committed, we're going to do an expansion every year. Every year, we're going to have a new expansion. And after Vessel of Hatred, they were like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We'll release another expansion when it's done. And I kind of wonder if maybe maybe a year is a little too fast for the amount of content they are and story they're trying to put in an expansion. So it felt like
Yeah.
Vessel of Hatred had some half-baked ideas in there that could have been cool, except literally did not have enough time to bake. They had to release because they're doing an expansion a year.
Joe?
Yeah, no, I got nothing. I mean, like Liz has said, the other bits that I was going to add in there. I mean, I am excited because of where we're going, but also like I'm worried that we're going to have another like Vessel of Hatred expansion where I got to the end of the story, and then I was just like, okay, cool. There's nothing else for me here.
Yeah.
Which happens sometimes. It is the nature of this game. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes when it comes out.
I will say that.
Joe,
Oh, go ahead.
Joe, would you tell us? You said you're excited about where we're going. Would you tell us where we're going and why you're excited to go there?
I am excited that we are going to the Scovos Isles, or at least Scovos Isle. We don't know if we're going to all of them yet. They haven't really clarified that. But it's the home of the Amazons and the Oracles, which a lot of the story of Diablo, a lot of the lore, and a lot of the stuff that comes after Diablo 1 and a lot of stuff that really happens in Diablo 2 is a direct result of the history of the Scovos Isles. It would be I'm really excited to see what they do with it. And Matt and I have talked about this a little bit. I'm curious what they're going to do, because we know that we're also getting another class. They haven't said what it is yet. A lot of people are immediately snapping to Amazon, and I feel like at this point, if it's not the Amazon, we're going to have a Diablo Immortal situation all over again. But also it could open themselves up to give us the Oracle class. And people are starting to they're starting to do math, or they could do a full swerve and you get both. You never know. So I'm excited to see what they do with it, and hopefully it'll be worth the story wait. Because again, we haven't heard from the Scovos Isles in ever, like since the Amazon showed up in Diablo 2. That was the last time.
Note that you didn't actually get to go to Scovos at that time.
No, I'm saying hear from that was the only connection we had to it, really.
Yeah. We've never been there, period, and we haven't heard much about it. The only time we heard anything new about it was at the end of Diablo 3, where Lorith is like, yeah, we sent people to the Scovos Isles and they're all dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I will say, as someone who's been playing it, if nothing else, I can say that I have absolutely loved the mechanical implementation of the Paladin. Like, this class is ridiculously fun to play.
I do want to jump in here with a tiny clarification. The Paladin is a class in Lord of Hatred, but you can play it right now if you pre-ordered Lord of Hatred.
You pre-order,
so
you get to play it right now. I did.
There are a lot of mysteries about this expansion, but Paladin's live in the game right now.
Yep. And whilst I will say that to a certain degree it feels almost a little weird to play one through the rest of Diablo 4, because we don't know what the Lord of Hatred content will be like. It feels a little weird to play a Paladin up to level 60 and do the content that already exists. There's some reference to the fact that you're a Paladin and that things are different, but not a ton. And there's only one quest, which is near the end of the game, essentially, where you can go and help out another Paladin and figure out what's going on. Who are these people? Are they the original Paladins of Crusade? What are they? Who are they? That's there's a lot of back and forth on this in terms of what's going on with that. But mechanically, tremendously fun class, and one I would recommend people playing. I liked it so much that it took me a very long time to even try a Barbarian in the current season, and I'm still, every time I log on, half the time I'm on my Paladin, just because they're just so much fun. And they're weird. They have a real seesaw approach to life and death in terms of Diablo combat. Sometimes I'm practically invulnerable, and sometimes I don't line up my stuff right, and I die like a bug on a windshield. And at first I didn't like this, but then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm finally playing a wizard. I'm finally playing a glass cannon. I am a glass cannon. I'm just a glass cannon that has a lot of armor on it. But yeah, it's a strange and wonderful class. I really enjoy it. The mechanics, the the switching between your 4 archetypes, for lack of a better word. You can play like, I want to play my paladin as a unholy vengeance wielder. No, I want to play mine as like a tank. I want to play mine as somebody who protects and supports the people around him, or I want to play mine as a giant pain in the butt for everybody involved. I'm looking right at you, Zealot. So yeah, it is really mechanically, it's great. It's great to play one. I still have no idea how integrated they are into the story. I don't know why we couldn't have gotten a new Paladin order that had the Templars and the Crusaders in it from the beginning, because you did that with the Rogues. They had all these different orders of like, people who were previously in other, Diablo games in the Rogues now. So yeah, I don't know. Am looking forward to finding out. But as a class, this is the most I've ever loved a Paladin in my life. Like I straight up will be playing Paladins from now on. I will always have a Paladin on the burn. I will do every season with a Paladin. Probably do a Paladin first. So yeah. Having barbarians die a lot until they get gear that really supports them. The Paladin can go naked in the first 20 levels if you have the right build. If you have the right build, you can seriously just wander around in a dress. Because I did. I mean, I literally was, at least until I got to, what's that little town? Nevesk. Until you get to Nevesk, I had nothing. And then you go to Nevesk and you go out to the first dungeon and you come back, and I had literally nothing but what was dropping. So a bunch of gray cloth stuff on. And I was completely immortal. Like, could not die. At one point I got frozen, my game crashed. When I got back in, I was still alive.
I also feel like when
happened in Diablo. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, I feel like when Blizzard launches a new class, it's a little bit overpowered. Like on launch day, the new class is always going to feel good. Though
I will say, not only did I disagree with that at first and then come around to it, I was saying for a while that they weren't as busted as the Spiritborn.
Well, the Spiritborn were super overpowered, but it was also in part literally because of a bug Blizzard didn't fix.
Yeah. I feel like the Paladin is actually more broken, but it's broken in terms of longevity. Like the Spiritborn, like at the first 20 levels, you were like a god, and then it calmed down, so you were just extremely overpowered. The Paladin starts off, you're a little overpowered, a little more overpowered. Oh, wow, now I can do this ability. I have an ultimate that's got a 20-second cooldown. A 20-second cooldown on an ultimate. And it can refresh itself randomly. So sometimes I can just keep that ultimate going for literally a minute straight. And it's just swooping around this gigantic flaming sword that sweeps the battlefield and then crashes down on top of something. And I can just keep it going. I've literally soloed world bosses. I'm not even kidding. I've been the only one doing any damage. There was like me and one other guy, and he spent the entire time running away because there was so much stuff on the ground. I could completely ignore it because my consecrate would drop, and then it was just ultimate. Oh yeah, okay. Asmodon's dead now, guys. Come on in. You can get some loot. Yeah. No, I took him. I took care of it. It's crazy. I know they'll nerf this down. I know they'll fix it, and they should fix it. And I'm not even mad or sad about it. But I am so glad I played them right now. So yeah, that is the only time you'll hear me talk that lovingly about Paladins ever.
Well, I really enjoyed Paladins in Diablo 2. I'm glad to see them make a return.
We've got BlizzCon 2026 this year, which is 2026, which makes sense.
Weird.
Yeah. But it's not sold out, according to this, which is a little surprising. Because they started selling tickets last year, right?
Yeah, but even the last BlizzCon before this in 2023, that you could still get tickets day of.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to go, don't take that as read that there are going to be tickets day of. Buy them if you know you're going to go. But yes, there are still BlizzCon tickets available if you want to go to BlizzCon. Just, I don't know, it's hard to justify the cost with how easy it is to see things online these days. For me, at least.
For me, I just don't want to travel to the United States again.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
There are lots of factors that go into that decision.
Yep. But yeah, that's happening. So we also have a little thing here about list of non-Blizzard games. And the funniest part about this is GTA 6, the game that could be out at any time, but it is not. So I'm not worried about it.
I think the question here is, what else are you all looking forward to in 2026? What games? We talked about kind of the big Blizzard releases we know about, but what is everyone looking forward to this year in gaming?
Honestly,
Somebody talked about Discord
Matt!
Season 2, man.
Dawn of War 4. I'm looking forward to that. I really loved the first Dawn of War and all of its expansions, and the second one was pretty good, and the third one was pretty good. And I'm just always going to want to shove little space marines around a map and make them fight orcs, because it doesn't get much better than that. So, and it's another RTS, and it looks like it's more in the line of the first game than the other ones were. So it's looking like a return to the form, and I can't wait.
that's fair.
Well, Joe, you were going to say something, I thought?
Yeah, Insomniac's Wolverine is supposed to come out this year, and I really,
Damn
really
it.
I really enjoyed the Spider-Man games, and I'm really curious to see what they do with Wolverine in general. Insomniac's one of those companies that I think understands the pulse of comic books, so I think it'll be very interesting. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's what I'm excited for, or at least one of the ones. I'll let other people talk before I steal another one.
I will say that one thing I want to mention about the Wolverine game is that they've come up with a way to integrate the regeneration into gameplay in a way that I think, if they do it right, will be very cool. I'm off and on about Wolverine as a character. Like, I actually, quite frankly, liked Laura, Kinney as Wolverine better than I liked Logan as Wolverine. But when done properly, like, ironically enough, the movie that most people talk about as being bad was X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I enjoyed that movie.
I did too.
Just because it just went with the premise. If Insomniac can do that here, and we've seen what they did with Spider-Man, it's even odds that I will be enjoying it. But I feel like Discord Season 2 and the fact that we're going to have Discord content that isn't Season 2 is like going to come out before that. Basically, Discord was an enormous success. It's now sold something like 3 million copies. And as a result, we're going to get more content because the publishing company, essentially got bought out by Critical Role. And that's what allowed them to release Discord. And Dispatch. Sorry, I keep saying Discord. That's my bad. Dispatch Season 2.
I was sitting here being confused, trying to
understand who's he chatting with. But no, Dispatch Season 2 is coming out. They're going to have some stuff before that. There's heavy hinting that it's going to involve Malavolia, which is, if you have played Dispatch, Malavolia is pretty cool. And if you haven't, go play Dispatch. I mean, what do you want? Also, apparently, Dispatch is going to be available for the Game Awards next year as best indie game, even though they came out last year. For some reason, because they were released too late for consideration or something. Regardless, Dispatch, one of my favorite games of the past 5 years, really good. I am looking forward to seeing more of that. I can't really think of another actual coming out game that I know is coming out that isn't Wolverine that I was thinking particularly strongly about. Maybe Neo 3, but I'll be upfront that I don't actually think that's going to happen. People keep telling me it's going to happen, but I am not convinced.
They announced it at the Game Awards, but the game Bradley the Badger, the 2D or the 3D platforming one that had a bunch of meta commentary on other games, including actor Evan Peters as the voice of the Badger character. I hope that's coming out this year. It looked pretty finished from its trailer, so if it is, I'm looking forward to that.
Liz, I want you to toss an answer out there before I give my next one.
See, the thing is, there's nothing on my list for 2026 right now, which isn't to say there aren't games I want to play, because 2025 was so busy and so stacked with amazing games. I've been really tied up in World of Warcraft lately, so I've barely touched the Outer Worlds 2, which is a 2025 game that I was really, really looking forward to. And it's not that it's a bad game, it's just I've had so many things to do, I haven't been able to sit down and really commit to a giant RPG.
I can't tell. I can't spoil it for you because I literally think you'd kill me with your mind. But I will say that it's a very good game. I very much enjoyed playing it. So,
but yeah, the things I'm looking forward to playing to right now are games that released in 2025 that I just haven't gotten around to yet, like Dispatch, which I haven't bought because I'm like, okay, my gaming backlog is so big, I cannot buy another game that I'm not going to play right now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to making the time to sit down and play the Outer Worlds. I don't know what time I'm going to not be obsessed with building the perfect player house in WoW, but maybe there will be a time when that happens.
There won't
And
be a time that happens.
yeah, I mean that's true. I may get to a happy spot. I don't know. But it's so hard to make time, and 2025 was such a crazy year for great games that the things I want to play are things that are already out, and I just gotta shove things aside in my schedule until I play them.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, but there is, with exceptions, some that are like, I am really excited for this. Like, there's been a few roguelike games that I have dumped an inordinate amount of time into in the past, whether it's Binding of Isaac, where I had well over 1,000 hours in, or Enter the Gungeon, which I had close to 1,000 hours in. Enter the Gungeon 2 comes out this year. I may die. But it's a game that I've really been looking forward to. I really like the IP, and it's, while I have other games that I need to catch up on, that is 100% a game that I will make time for over others once it releases. Yeah. Anybody else got any others you want to throw out there?
I will wait to see if Cory does before I say anything.
No, I again, it's like Liz. I'm not really looking forward to games. And it's like the what we were talking about in the pre-show with the trailer hype. It doesn't really work on me, or I don't want to see a thing and then obsess about it for a while. I want to see a thing and then play the thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to list a few then that I'm just going to list and not talk about them too much. But Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is basically an Arkham game set in Lego Batman's world.
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, and it actually looks... I don't like Batman except when he's Lego. I actually prefer Lego Batman to any other version of Batman. So I'm excited about this game because I like Batman comics, and they're basically adapting a bunch of different Batman comics. There's Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, which is like, have you ever wanted to see the game where 1940s Black Panthers, Captain America fight Hydra together? Because that's the game. That's what this is. So yay for that. There's Control Resonant.
Oh yeah,
Which is not a sequel to Control, more like, hey, this also happened in the same place as Control, and Max, all that different stuff. Not Max Payne. Max Payne's not actually linked to the. It's a Remedy game, but it's not linked to the Control / Wakeaverse. But yeah,
that we know about yet.
I mean, he could just show up. Quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised. But regardless, that's the cool thing, is that Control. There will be another Control game, because Control is a very good game.
It actually is, and they've kind of linked it through with the game, just to let you know.
Oh, I knew about the Alan Wake part, but I'm not sure.
Like, yeah, they did. Yep.
Okay. Yep. I mean, quite frankly, I can't pretend that I remember everything about the last Alan Wake game, because that game is like, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a whole thing with Alex Casey being an alternate version, or the fictional version of Max Payne that was written in by Alan Wake's actual character, because it's the same voice actor, same mannerisms, same facial features, same everything. Sorry,
yeah, because he's the head of the company.
He is, yeah.
But I mean, it's him.
But I mean, like it's yeah. I'm sorry. It's one of those things where I was like, I went super down this rabbit hole. So there you go.
But regardless, so those are the ones I'm listing really quickly, just so we have them. But at this point, I am going to say, Liz, before we do anything else, I'm going to give you the puppy dog eyes again and say, could you please? I
would just like to remind all of you listening at home, or wherever you happen to be. You don't have to listen at home. I'm not keeping track. Thank you so much for listening. It is your support that lets us do all of the things we do. That's so many podcasts. We do 3 podcasts a week. We have a website full of news and features and hopefully helpful guides. We try to make them helpful, hopefully. And your support means the world to us. Just having you here listening or reading helps us out so much. You guys keep us going. But those of you who can and do support us financially on Patreon really are what keeps the site running. Because yes, we do have ads on the podcast and the website, which keep it running, but it's individual support that really keeps the site going. If you're able to support us financially, you can give us $3 a month on Patreon to get early access to all of these podcasts, ads free, and the special exclusive super secret Blizzard Watch podcast pre-show, which is, it's very random. Today we talked about Muppets, because why not? Why not? Some days
and Werner Herzog.
And that, yes, I'm not going to try to. I can't do any better than that, so I'm not going to try to. And for $5 a month, you get that, but also you get ads-free access to the website at blizzardwatch.com. If you can support us financially, just head to patreon.com/blizzardwatch and pledge whatever you can. Even $1 helps us out. And it's a lot of little people listening and chipping in a little bit that keeps things going. So, and if you can't, I understand. Wow, we're just into a year and it's already, it's an interesting one. So I understand if you can't support us financially. Keep listening. Share the podcast, like, subscribe. That helps us out. It helps tell the algorithm that people like the podcast. And you can also follow us on social media, which is a good place to find out when we're doing stuff and share it with your friends. We are Blizzard Watch on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Mastodon at gamepad.club, blizzardwatch.com on Blue Sky, Blizzard Watch Podcasts on YouTube, and blizzard.watch on TikTok. So, come give us a follow and share our posts. And thanks so much for being here, everybody.
And thank you to Liz for reading all that and saying all that so that the rest of us could get some I want to turn to Cory now and turn the big floodlight on him and say, so I understand that there's going to be Heroes of the Storm at BlizzCon 2026 this year?
There is.
So
there
talk to
is
me about this.
Something. It's just a little, they're doing some tournament stuff with it. They're going to have some esports action at BlizzCon, and Heroes of the Storm is part of it. I don't know how they're going to put teams together. I don't know where they're going to get the roster from. I don't know any more details than that. They haven't, as far as I know, they haven't announced any casters yet for it, but it's coming.
Isn't there also at least one patch announced for 2026?
I don't know if we've gotten a patch yet, but we've come off of one recently that added in the Plush Butcher skin and tweaked up some of the long length quests that various heroes have. So at the rate they've been going, it's been about every 2 months that we get a patch. So I'm sure that by BlizzCon 2026, we'll have 2 or 3 more patches under our belt. Fingers crossed. It just shows that, yeah, we're due for the resurgence, as always. You know, the game is not dead. The game is very much alive, and they will continue to be alive because it still plays really well. It still plays really fun, and people are still playing it. I played a bunch of games the other day, and it took no more than a minute to get into a quick match, and they were fairly even, and they were a lot of fun. So, not dead. Game is still very much alive. Go out there, have fun, and fill your boots with all the Heroes of the Storm action you could want.
We've heard you quite a bit over the years about this, but do you actually, this is a completely serious question. Do you think that this could lead to actual live development on Heroes of the Storm in the future? I'm sorry, I didn't mean
without hyperbole. I fully eyes open to the light of day. Who knows? They're still doing stuff with it. That there's still people who will pop up every time there's a new patch and be like, "Whoa, this game's still going." Yeah, it's not the best sign for it, but at the same time, they keep making new patches. If they had no faith in the game at all, they could have at any point just stopped. We wouldn't really notice. At some point, somebody would stick their head up and say, "Wow, it's been a minute since they patched Heroes of the Storm." Huh. And then they'd continue on with their life. But they're still doing it. They're still... The janitor's working away, and he's got a team of sub-janitors now, it seems. They've announced that it's part of the Blizzard Classic Games portfolio, so maybe there's a bunch more people than just a janitor and a couple assistants. And they're releasing mostly full content that was 90% of the way to completion before they shut it down into maintenance mode. New content has come out. 2 new skins have come out. They've made big changes to the gameplay, and they've changed how forts and keeps work. They've added extra towers. They've changed quests. They've changed evade behavior. They've fixed bug after bug after bug. So it's all still chugging along. And every time they do something with it, there's a bunch of people that go like, "Oh yeah, that game was a lot of fun. I'm gonna play a couple more games." So let's do it. Just push the lever. Give it another year of full development. See what you can do out of it, and let's see what happens. At this point, why not?
I just want to thank you, Cory, for, among other things, giving me this moment of hope that the world could actually be sane. It doesn't last very long, but up until I see some news. Yeah, but for a moment. Before we leave, Joe, can you explain the picture you put into the group chat? So I want the audience to know about it, because we talked about it in the pre-show, but we didn't really get into detail, and I want you to explain this to people.
No, I mean, I don't know that there's much to explain. It's a meme. You can find it online if you search James Marsden in cars with animals, because James Marsden has officially completed the trifecta of essentially being in a vehicle with a some form of animated creature. The first one was Hop, where he was teamed up with a rabbit, which was a buddy cop movie, because of course it was. Then there's Sonic the Hedgehog, where he teams up with Sonic. And there's like
in multiple films too. He's not in just
films.
one of them.
No, he's in all
trilogy.
Of them. Possibly more to come. And then the last one was from the Avengers Doomsday teaser, which is James Marsden in the car with Rocket Raccoon, James Marsden as his Cyclops character. So he's completed the trifecta, which is sort of the meme picture. And we were talking about it at the beginning of the show, or in the pre-show, and I posted it in the podcast channel, because I was like, this is funny, and everybody needs to see it, because I have seen it. And
yeah, I didn't notice that he'd done that, so cue to me near the end of this podcast that we're currently doing, and I flip over to the channel, and there it is, and I'm like, I need Joe to explain this to people, because I don't think I can. So yeah, if nothing else, it kind of shows you that James Marsden does not age.
No, he really does not. His hair changes. That's about it.
He's one of those immortal
very
people. Well. Yeah. So, but now I feel like we've.
Oh, there is one more thing though.
Oh, one more thing. Go.
Okay, so Awesome Games Done Quick is live currently as we're recording this, and should still have another weekend in it by the time that most people are listening to this. And we have a reporter on the ground there. Our very own Mitch Fizzle has been volunteering at the event, and so I have a few notes from him about how Awesome Games Done Quick has been going. First off, I don't know if you know this, but Mitch is short. And
yeah, I was aware. I've met him.
I know. I made sure to point that out to him, because he showed a picture of all the volunteers together, and they stuck him way at the very back, and you can barely see the top of his forehead. And I'm like, "What? You're so short, Mitch. How come they stuck you all the way at the far back and not in the front, where people could actually see your face?" But he didn't seem to take that as nicely as I meant it. But he is a short fella. It sounds like it's been going super well. They've got a lot of new additions this year, and if you ever have the chance to go to it in person in Pittsburgh, where they've been since 2024, it sounds like a really fun time. They've got an artist alley now. They have a board game room with games you can rent. You can play video games on old school CRT monitors and consoles. They've got different arcades set up where you can play free-to-play pinball, rhythm and motion games, House of the Dead, Street Fighter stuff. They're doing panels the whole time that you're not seeing like people playing, but there's also people talking about speed running.
And it should be noted that this year's charity, I believe, as always, is for the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
Yes,
and they are raising quite a good chunk of money. If you are listening,
they've already passed $400,000 this year,
and it's been going for 3 days.
Yeah.
So they're well on track to make a very impressive number. Also, if you can't catch anything live, they have been very, very good about getting the recordings, essentially the stream, the VODs, up on YouTube pretty much immediately after, within a couple hours. They're up and ready to watch. So like, if there's something you missed by the time you're listening to this, you check the channel. Likely it will be available. They've also been very good about accessibility options on the ones that they've uploading, making sure that languages and the closed captioning and stuff are already readily available. So 10 out of 10, highly recommend. take your time and enjoy the content. There's a lot of really cool games this year.
Yeah, and the community around this event has been one of the most wholesome, incredible, and welcoming communities that you will ever find in the gaming sphere. There's no gatekeeping. People aren't being jerks to each other. This is a wholesome time raising money for a good cause, and I don't remember what their lifetime total is up to now, but it's in the millions and millions of dollars. So the Prevent Cancer Foundation has done really well from this event, and it will continue to do really well. And I think you all should be looking forward to the Super Mario 64 70-person relay event, which it sounds exactly like what it is. There's going to be 70 people relaying Super Mario 64 to try and get through it as fast as possible. So, I mean, that sounds like a wild time. You should definitely check it out.
Okay. Thank you, Cory, for remembering to bring that up, because I had forgotten, and it is, as you guys both pointed out, a really cool event that helps a lot of people. So, but I think we're done. This is going to be it. This is the last podcast of today. I hope. If there's another one today, I'm not
I
here.
hope so too. I don't have the stamina for more podcasting.
Next week, sure. This weekend, probably, yeah. But right now, this one's the last one until at some point in the future. This has been the Blizzard Watch podcast. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Liz, Joe, and Cory for being here and making it more than just me kind of muttering to myself for an hour. My day, we didn't have so many video games. Yeah, this has been the podcast, and we will be back next week.